Welcome everyone to the USD 393 Solomon Schools monthly update brought to you by Eagle Communications. Once again, we want to thank them for all their time and effort and allowing us to come to you and have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what's happening at Solomon Schools. We are here in February, so I want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day a little bit early. And you're seeing me today because, you know, it's that time of year where the flu happens. And so we had a great thing planned for you guys in order to see the art teacher at work with our crocheting students, but unfortunately sickness has hit and we're not able to bring that to you today, but we'll try to bring that to you next month hopefully. But a few things because of that sickness, just a reminder as we're into February, it seems like knock on wood, we've been very fortunate. I think the highest number of kids out in our district so far has been about 37 or so, and so that's not enough to where we've had to close schools like some other school districts around, but we just want to remind you that we'd like you to be fever-free for 24 hours, of course, before you send your child back, and same thing with our staff and our adults who work in our schools. We tell them the same thing, stay home, you might feel well, but if you have a fever, make sure you're fever-free for 24 hours because we don't want it to spread, and then we want to keep our little kiddos healthy, and so that way they're able to learn and progress throughout the winter months here. And so with that being said, of course, you do have the wonderful month of February. It can become a little bit long. It's the shortest month we have, but at times it can be long because of the weather outside. The good news is that according to the groundhog, we're going to see spring a little bit earlier this year, let's hope. So that would be great. We were spoiled last weekend with the Chiefs win and a beautiful 75 degrees outside, so I think that also contributes to a little bit of the lull of the winter time. So keep your kiddos safe at home and hopefully keep the flu out. With that is also Parent-Teacher Conference time. So next at the end of next week on the 14th, in fact, on Valentine's Day, will be the morning session of it. And then on the evening of the 13th, from 4 to 8, will be the evening session of our Parent-Teacher Conferences. New this year is that we are going to include our 8th graders as a part of our individual plans of study as they prepare for their transition from 8th grade to becoming freshmen in high school next year. They'll start planning their schedules with their teachers and their counselor and sit down with mom and dad and talk about their progress and what the next 4 years will look like. And so we've added that feature this year and we're excited about that. And so make sure you get your time scheduled. That's either next Thursday the 13th or Friday morning the 14th there. As well, we haven't been home very often, so you'll get a chance to see our little kids cheer, even though we do have a day off of school on the 14th. We have little kids dance through our rec on the 14th, so come out on Friday night as we play Little River, and you'll get to see the kiddos dance there, so they're excited about that. A couple other things that are coming up in our district that I think are really important, and one, we've reached out. The board has given anywhere from 5 to 10 different people to invite to our strategic planning event that's coming up on the 17th of February. We'd like to extend that to anyone. We've had a response from several of those people, and the weekend, because it is President's Day, there are some people that are going to be out of town, but we'd like to have anyone who has a kid that goes to school here, grandparent or a patron or community member, we'd love for you to be a part of that process. If you're interested in being a part of our next 3 to 5 years in planning for our school district, we'd love to have you call the school and call Beth here at the district office at 655-2541. We'd love for you to be a part of that. It's going to start at 9 o'clock on the 17th here at the high school. We have no school that day, so we get the opportunity to meet in our commons area and sort of talk about the future of vision and planning for the next few years. With that being said, you know, we've had the opportunity, the board did, to sit down and sort of talk about their goals for the next few years and what they'd like. And we had the opportunity to speak to our teachers as well, and they went through a process. Now it's a chance to have our other stakeholders and the community members have their voice. When we're done with that, we're going to take all that, put it together, and then we're going to send out a questionnaire for all patrons and sort of talk about what are your thoughts on these 3 to 5 main topics and what areas do you want us to probably address within those specific areas. We're just trying to narrow down the 5 areas of interest that we need to focus on as a district and see places where we can improve. We also want to talk about the things that we've done extremely well in the past few years. And I want to thank all the parents on their survey that they gave at the last Parent-Teacher Conference in October. And it's great to see where we were 2 years ago and where we are now. So excited about that process to to happen, and we love the input, and we love for people outside of education to bring in their thoughts and ideas, because I think that's where we can grow as a community and grow as a school. The last thing I want to talk about is February 20th, and unfortunately this is something that we all have to deal with, and it's a good thing, as we've done more Facebook Live events across our district, and we've reached out through our Thrill Share app, meaning that we're posting things on our live feed and Facebook and Twitter and all the different social media outlets that we have. But with that comes a responsibility for our youth and trying to educate them on how to use it responsibly. And one of the things that we're finding is that there are all sorts of apps. I'm learning, as I have teenagers now in our household, and learning that there's all sorts of new apps that are out there. And those apps aren't always the best apps. Unfortunately, students today cannot get away. Dr. John Heim, the director of KSB, put out an article a few months back, and I thought he summed it up best, is that when we all went to high school, one of the things is that we could get away from it. Cell phones weren't a thing, and even back then it was the old flip phone, or you had the bag phone way back in the day when they first came out. And so you didn't exactly get on your phone and just visit and gossip. You actually had to use a landline, and you didn't really gossip a lot about that anyways. If you did something silly at school, or you had an altercation at school, verbal or physical, with another student, whether it was at school or off campus, you know, it sort of left when you left. It didn't follow you. Nowadays, it follows you on social media, it follows you on the different apps, and they can target you a little bit more. So we have the great opportunity to have Mr. Chet Copeland out of Pittsburgh, Kansas. He actually runs the Sports in Kansas website, as well as the ESPN affiliate. He is one of their personalities, online personalities for them, and using that site there. But he's going to come out and he gives a great speech about your online presence and your digital footprint. And so we've had other people come out and speak to us, such as the National Guard, about that. But now we're going to talk about not just athletes, but all students. We'd like to invite the parents that day at 9:30 in the morning. He's going to come out and speak for 90 minutes to our 5th grade through 12th grade students, and just talking about not only your online presence and what you post, but also the different apps and how to use it, and how that can sometimes leads to negative behaviors. A couple out there that right now, of course, Snapchat. You guys, I'm sure parents are well aware of it, but there's also another app that attaches to it, which is called YOLO. We've just found out about it, and it's one of those things. There's always somebody out there trying to do something negative. And so it's just things that we need to be aware of as parents and as community members, and to basically educate our kids and to reach out when they do find help. What we don't want to have happen is where all that pressure mounts. As Dr. Heim alluded to, we could all get away from it. Unfortunately, at 2 a.m. it can still be in front of you. At 4 a.m. it can be in front of you. At 8 a.m. it can be, and it can follow you every single day, 24 hours a day. So we need to tell our teachers how to be, tell our students how to be advocates for themselves, and to sometimes it's better just to shut it off and to talk to parents and talk to teachers that we're here for them. You know, we've had a few issues in the past few years in Dickinson County and here in Solomon, where we've had people that have considered suicide, and because it's gotten to the point of bullying. We don't want it to get to that point. We want them to reach out and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this person. So there's helplines out there. Reach out to those helplines. Reach out to a confidant. Reach out to your parents if you don't feel with a parent, an aunt, an uncle, a pastor, a teacher, an administrator. You know, make sure we're talking to our teenagers. As they say, when we stop talking to our teenagers about what's happening, that's when they internalize everything. So don't be afraid to upset. I upset my teenager all the time, asking him about, what's this app? I don't even know. So like I talked about, the YOLO is something that attaches to Snapchat. So, you know, Verizon and other carriers out there obviously set up parameters for parents to control and monitor and help their teenagers understand and monitor when they can and can't be online. And so it's something to maybe look into. It's your personal preference, of course. And Chet's going to talk about all those things to our student body, as well as the parents that you're free to attend 8:30. We'd love to have you. 9:30 on the 20th of February. He'll talk for about an hour and a half to everyone just about our online presence. It's that time of year where we're waiting for spring. We'd love for spring to come sooner. I think that's a part of it. I'm glad we have a 4-day weekend coming up. We've got ParentTeacher Conferences. We've got that Monday off on the 17th. 15th. Hopefully that will help get the flu out of here, get some spring fever coming. We'll get to March Madness and the NCAA basketball, and hopefully there'll be a couple Kansas teams. Unfortunately, my Kansas team, the Wildcats, probably aren't going to make it. But we hope for springtime to arrive quicker. It seems to bring smiles on people's faces a little bit more, and we'll see you again in March, of course, with more updates there. But enjoy the rest of your winter. Have a happy Valentine's Day. And until next month, we want to thank Eagle Communications for coming out and bringing this to you. And we'll see you again in March.